Yo, I have here my boy Alex, the tattoo artist, bro.
What up, man?
What up, bro? So, tell us about yourself, bro.
So, I'm 22, born and raised in Wichita, Kansas. I'm a tattoo artist. I've been doing it since out of high school. Been drawing my whole life. So, I'm the youngest tattoo artist in Wichita, licensed tattoo artist in Wichita.
Best, youngest, licensed.
Some say.
No, I say, bro. But now, like, what? So, is that what got you started? Like, just being as a kid, you just like drawing?
Yeah. So I've always drawn. In middle school, I would ask kids if I could take pictures of them and draw their faces just to practice drawing portraits. I used to sit outside the apartments I lived at and draw the cars that were driving by, the plants, whatever. And yeah, I would just draw. I would send people their drawings every week or so.
So, did you ever once you finally get to the point of like near high school or whatever, start messing with like the pigskin and stuff, right? Like,
Yeah,
work your way up.
I didn't know until I was 16 that you had to be 18 to be even considered for an apprenticeship to even start tattooing.
I didn't know that.
So I have to have, in Wichita, you have to have a high school diploma. So I was like, okay, I can't really wait that long. So I started practicing with like pigskin and stuff like that, and then COVID hit, and I started doing it a bit more, maybe practice on a couple of friends, and then a couple months after COVID hit, I got my full-on apprenticeship, so I quit doing all that. So usually a lot of trainers and tattoo artists, they don't want you trying pigskin or practicing before an appointment or before
You almost went into generational debt, bro.
I know.
Anyway, continue on.
I almost lost my life. But most of artists don't want you practicing before you get into the industry because you can pick up on bad habits. But I didn't do it long enough to pick up any really much bad habits. So it was kind of a lucky break for me. But yeah, so I did a couple pigskins, but not like what people are doing today.
So how did you first start out, like, getting clientele, like, right? Because you started just drawing portraits of your friends.
So in high school, I got nominated for Homecoming King, and you know how in Homecoming King you do big speeches. Everyone's like volunteers, what they doing for work, what they're gonna do after high school. Everyone's doing all that. My exact speech was, I'm gonna be an artist when I get out of high school. Follow me on Instagram and keep up to date with it. And that was my exact speak. I didn't volunteer. I didn't do any of that stuff. So I just kind of plugged my stuff, and I had a lot of people following me on Snapchat and Instagram for it. And once I started tattooing, I kind of reached out. I kind of said that I'm doing tattoos for free or $20, and make it small and simple. And that's kind of just how I started building up. Yeah, I started getting small stuff, building up. After about a month or two of doing that, free $20 tattoos, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I started going to 50 to 100, and then I started charging shop prices, and then started hourly, and now I charge day rates.
So basically, you started small with like the simple like smiley tats and all, like the smaller arts,
like the infinity symbols, the small flowers,
the names,
yeah, stuff like that. And then I started, if I wanted to try something else like a rose, then I would do it for free a couple times and make sure I got it down before I started charging for it. Or when I did a portrait, I do it for free. And then, so whenever I wanted to try something new, I'd always either discount it very heavily, like 80% discount, or do it for free just so I could practice it. And then that's kind of how I got to where I am.
How different was it from going from like pencil drawing on like a portrait on like pen and paper to like actually tattooing the skin? You had to learn the layers, right?
Yeah, so honestly for me it wasn't too bad. It was a lot easier. It's a lot easier to, I guess, visualize in my head what's going on. If you're an artist, everything's the exact same. You're just learning a new medium.
Yeah.
And as long as you kind of know the technical sides of the art and stuff like that, everything else just kind of falls into place. At that point, it's just learning the anatomy and seeing kind of fail, and try again until it looks good, until you get it right. So, but if you don't have any art technical skills or anything like that, then it's a lot harder to go from pencil to skin.
So what you're saying is I can't become a tattoo artist if I can only draw stick figures, right?
I mean, you could. There's a couple artists who, quote unquote artists, who made famous for dog shit tattoos. So.
That's true. So what does your clientele look like on a day-to-day? Like, it's just do you have like a certain like niche that people come to?
Yeah, so since the very beginning, since probably 4 or 6 months into tattooing, I was very strict on who I took on as clientele. What I took on, and that was because every artist you talk to, they're like, it takes years and years to build up your clientele. You don't start tattooing what you really want to tattoo until maybe 5 years in or more. Don't do any portraits until 10 years in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like that idea. I didn't like that time set on those type of things. So 6 months in, I was like, okay, I'm only taking on what I like to do. I'm not taking any more walk-in type tattoos. So my clientele, they know I do realism. They know I do surrealism, portraiture, animals, nature, stuff like that. Anything that kind of tells a story. I'm not really taking on like your boyfriend and girlfriend's names.
Oh gosh.
Maybe every once in a while I still do it just to practice the basics and fundamentals, but it's not like I'm doing that every day. It's maybe once every couple months I'm doing that type of stuff. But
man, you're now like 22, right?
Yeah, I'll turn 23 in May.
See?
So
youngest guy in the city, man. Youngest guy in the city doing it. But it just goes to show, like, you just got to start somewhere, right? You started on pen and paper, some friends, and then you moved up, right? And then what made you connect? Because, we're close friends, so I was peeping his realism. Like, what got you, like, real attached to, like, realism as, like, your niche, right?
I always, since I was a kid, I've always been intrigued in how realistic artwork could be. I wanted something that made people stop and be like, holy shit, is that a photograph? Holy shit, that looks real. Holy shit, I feel like I could feel that fur.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I've always been intrigued in stuff like that, and stuff like ancient artworks like Leonardo da Vinci. I almost said DiCaprio. Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo's, their artworks, you look at them and you feel a type of way, and that's kind of what I like. What I try to capture. I want you to feel some type of emotion, look at it and be like, holy shit. So I wanted to I didn't know as a kid that tattoos could be like that until I started seeing artwork from like Europe, where they do take their art very, very seriously. And that's what I try and capture in my work. I want emotions, not just, yeah, that looks nice. All right, move on. I want you to feel some type of way when you look at my work.
Now, what was the hardest part starting out, bro? There has to be something, right?
That's a good one.
I was like, what was the hardest part, bro? Getting clientele initially, like you said, starting cheap or what? Or...
Honestly, I started right when COVID opened everything back up. So for me, like, if you talk to other artists, they'll say COVID was the slowest time ever. For me, it was pretty normal since I didn't have any other, experience to go back to. But when everything started opening back up, everyone started getting tattoos and stuff like that. So for me, clientele wasn't that hard to get. It's more breaking into the industry, trying to prove, since I was so young, it was, you're wrong, I'm right, don't do this, listen to me. And there's some things that, stuff like that are true, but like, when you're telling me like I can't do this because it's wrong, when I know it's not, I've seen it done before, then it's trying to prove, I guess, the older people in the industry wrong.
Yeah.
Trying to prove myself that I am or can even be better than people who have been tattooing, 5, 10, 15 plus years.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest thing. And even now, people still look at me like I'm just a kid. I don't know what I'm talking about. They don't, So, and that's fine by me. Like,
I prove them wrong.
Yeah, like there's plenty of people who will stick up for me, and people in the industry who do respect me and my work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still, in that little bubble.
Would you say it takes a toll on your hand?
Not really.
Not
no.
really?
When I first started,
yeah,
I would go home and I'd feel my fingertips vibrating.
Yeah.
But after a while, it doesn't take a toll on. If you relax and do the proper, exercises, make sure you stretch out your hands. Don't put too much pressure on your hands, like holding your machine too tight. You should be okay. It's just like writing every day. People who type in offices, write, essays for college. I basically do the exact same thing, just I don't put pressure on my hands.
Now what would you say for like a young tattoo artist that's about to start? Like, would it be better to start seeking apprenticeship like as early as you can, once you hit 18 or whatever?
Yes.
Or just start practicing?
Yeah, no.
All right.
You go out, get your name out there, show your portfolio. The only reason I got my apprenticeship was because I went to every shop in Wichita, Derby, and Hutchinson, and I showed my portfolio to everyone. I made sure, I showed them my Instagram so they could follow me, left, my number and name and stuff like that, and showed my portfolio to every single artist, not just the owner, but every single artist in the shop. And at first, everyone, wasn't taking any apprentices. No one had room.
Yeah.
And so I was just working as a cleanup guide, landscaping, stuff like that, whatever I could.
Yeah.
And one day, one of the shops, their apprentice just left in the middle of the night. And they're like, okay, well, we know this guy. He's looking for an apprenticeship. Let's text him. And they texted me. They're like, hey, our apprentice just left. You want to come by and, see how things go? So that's kind of how mine. Just get your name out there. Make sure they remember you. Make sure your portfolio makes you stand out than anyone else. So just, as soon as you can, just go to every shop you can. Don't be afraid to hear the word no. You're going to hear that a lot. But it gets you out there, and people will remember that.
Yeah. Those kids wanted me to rep that shit out. So, how profitable is it, bro, when you first start? Your first year to now, bro.
Oh. So
what's
let's
it
see.
like?
Okay. It's kind of weird because I don't have any actual job experience. My job experience is McDonald's and McAllister's from high school. So my first year at McAllister's, I made less than $4,500 in the whole year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. My first 3 months of tattooing, I made a little over, I want to say 16 grand. And one day I made 1,500. And, that's like huge compared to 45 over, 12 months to 15K in 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so as long as you work your ass off, I was working 12, 14, 15 hour days. I was taking everyone I could, making sure, I did every tattoo. Right.
Oh shit! Shit, it didn't hold on long, guys, but go ahead.
And then as you start getting more clientele doing bigger pieces, that number obviously goes down, but you charge more, so it goes up.
Yeah.
But so my first year, I probably made 30, 40, maybe 50,000, and then just last year, 2024, I hit 180, 190.
6 figures, my boys.
Yeah,
6
so.
figures. But it takes time and years, man.
So, and next year, 2025, I'll probably be doing 200, 220, maybe 250. But we'll see how that goes.
That's what we love to hear. I mean, that's why, I love seeing other people's, businesses and whatnot, but I think it relates to any business. Any business in the initial first start, it's hard startup.
It is. you spend a lot of money, a lot of time. But
hey, they're all write-offs.
Definitely. But if you put your mind to it, then as long as you're consistent and you keep progressing, you know you're progressing, you make smart choices with what you're doing, then there shouldn't be a reason why something shouldn't turn profitable.
Yes.
Unless it's like the worst idea I've ever known to mankind.
Known to mankind.
So.
But that's why, like, for you got apprenticeship. So it's like a mentorship or someone else, like, looking down on you and teaching you this stuff, right? I feel like it expedites the way we learn and stuff, you know?
It does. Unfortunately, for me, I didn't have a mentor.
Yeah.
I had a mentor on paper.
Yep.
But I saw my mentor like maybe 2 times during my whole apprenticeship. So, but I did have other outside of my apprenticeship mentors, like Denzel. He's the guy I work with now. He's been my mentor since I was like 15, 16. So, you know, you do, as long as you expand your knowledge and you don't just stick to one thing, one person, you expand, it should be pretty profitable, not just in money but in knowledge as well.
Do you think if someone was holding your hand by the time you started doing it at 18 all the way up to now, you would have accelerated further and faster?
Probably not. If
Really?
If they're holding my hand, they're more than likely telling me what not to do as well.
True.
And if you don't
try something.
Yeah, I wanted to try portraiture at 4 months, do faces at 4 months. If someone was holding my hand, that would have been like, no, don't do that. Wait until you're about a year and a half in.
I think you're speaking. Yeah, no, like, because this relates to my bodybuilding thing, where it's like, if my coach told me just to do the standard posing, I don't think I would have won my first place doing it. So sometimes you got to go off track, guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do your own thing, you know. But
there's holding your hand and being controlling, and then there's guidance.
Guidance is what I think. I think I was looking for. If you had guidance the entire time when you started, though, but like free reign.
Yes.
Do you think you would have?
Yeah, I probably would have been still in the same place or even further along if I had guidance the whole way through. But if someone was holding my hand, I probably wouldn't even be where I am now. It'd probably be, 5 years to where I am now.
I think we're gonna say part 2 for all the fuck ups that he did, or weird clientels, or like weird requests, and just overall part 2, guys, because the camera battery's about to die, so I gotta save this. But peace out, guys. It was nice having you, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
I'm gonna go start revving some engines in a bit. But peace.